Thank you, and thank you for organizing this brilliant event. It's not easy to be the last one tonight. It's been a long night, and it's kind of hard to impress anyone after the Ukrainians. I'm just taking the opportunity to thank you for everything you're doing for us. Дуже дякую вас за все, що ви робите для нас всіх зараз. But just very briefly about Finland today. So Finnish journalism, of course, as journalism everywhere, has gone through profound changes. The history of journalism has been a history of multiple changes. As a trade unionist, I have to say about jobs, according to Finnish Media Federation, the amount of journalists working for news media in Finland has decreased at the pace of 5 to 7% every year. And we don't see a great change in this. And also, journalists are much busier than they were when I started the in the profession 25 years ago. The workload has grown. Many journalists are stressed out. They feel helpless trying to do their job as good as they want to. Big platforms have taken away the advertising money, and there are layoffs in the editorial houses. Salaries are not competitive compared to, say, corporate communications and so on and so forth. But when it comes to money, I think you put it really well. I think where there's a need, there is willingness to do it. I don't think Georgi Kongadze, when he started his Ukrainska Pravda, I don't think money was the first thing he thought about. He just knew that this needs to be done. And we all know journalism needs to be there. So these are the so-called business worries, and I'm not too concerned about that. Because journalism has always been in the midst of technological and economic changes, as have many other professions, and it has its great place in society. I have a past as an anti-corruption activist in Finland, and always when I lecture about this, I remind people that basically all the major corruption-related scandals in Finland were disclosed by the investigative journalists. So it's really an important job. And most Finns still trust in the media. I think the digital news report by Reuters Institute demonstrates that the level of trust is still around 70%, and Finns are the most eager payers of online news in the world, so we do pay for even the online journalism. But now we come to the problems. What worries me the most at the moment is the attitude towards journalists and journalism in this country. Many politicians and even civil servants alike have forgotten the essential role that journalism plays in a democracy. We at the Union of Journalists conducted a poll among our members working for news media just recently. We published the results literally 2 days ago on Monday. And over the half of the respondents of this little poll said that working with civil servants has become more difficult in recent years. 40% said that it's harder to work with politicians. People avoid talking to journalists. They only agree to give interviews by email. Then they get back and make big corrections. They undermine journalists and their work. They refuse to meet them and give interviews, and some of them directly behave as if journalists are the enemy. Then we come to the problem of especially younger journalists and those representing minorities. Some of them are subject to serious online targeting and shaming that directly leads to self-censorship and brain drain from the profession. I just recently talked to a young female journalist that was working for a local paper up north, dealing with an energy-related issue. And the pressure she got both from the company, dealing with the energy company, and also from the local politician was so severe that I had to talk her over not to leave the profession there and then. And the work she was doing was simply excellent. She already had a career in journalism. And it's not just this. We have politicians in the parliament of Finland holding high-level positions that do not respect journalists. They don't have any problem in undermining the work of journalists in public, in trying to influence the way things should be covered, and some of them have even participated in these online bullying campaigns against journalists. So the message I would like to convey is that, as we've said many times today, democracy needs its defenders, and journalists are at its forefront. But this is not enough. People in power, people holding high-level public positions need to respect the work of professional journalists, and they need to come out and say that they do, like Mr. Haavisto came today here to join this event on freedom of speech. Because mistrust in journalists and journalists leads to mistrust in society and in mistrust to each other. We have a neighboring country that's statistically one of the... Russia is a society of low trust, and in these kind of societies, propaganda can infiltrate the country, people become cynical and passive, and we don't want that. We definitely don't want to see this happening. And because we all work for the same goal, journalists, politicians, firemen, even military officers in Finland, we work for a just, peaceful and functional society. And professional journalists now need their advocates, people like Miroslava, to talk for us everywhere, not just in Ukraine, but even in a functioning democracy like Finland. So just finally, as we've heard today, Ukraine fights for democracy for all of us, right now outside of borders of Finland, luckily, but we cannot let our democratic values be eroded from forces within, and I think this is serious. So we have to do something before it's too late. Thank you.